BLM reaction, calling for vigilantes after a not guilty verdict. Your thoughts on that, Sheriff?
Well, these are mindless idiots. You know that. Your audience knows it. Look, black people kill each other on the streets in record numbers every single day in black on black crime. And these clowns from BLM sit silent and they say nothing. So I don't want to hear from them at a time like this.
Great point. And if you notice too, by the way, Sheriff, that crowd had a couple dozen. I remember the Summer of Love when they had thousands in the streets protesting stuff. It looks like BLM's not what it used to be. Literally, that's New York City, and there was maybe 24 of them, I think, that showed up. Now let's go to the verdict. On Friday, I was a little nervous when it looked like there might be a hung jury, and the judge said, no, get back in there. But then when he pulled the higher charge off the table, I was still a little nervous, though, that they might come back and find him guilty of the lesser charge. So I got to say, even though I felt he should have a full acquittal, I didn't know that a New York City jury would give it to him. But maybe this proves people are just fed up with all the crime in that city. What do you think on the verdict, Sheriff?
Yeah, like you, I was on pins and needles while the jury was deliberating. And as this thing went on, when it got into the second, third, and fourth day, because I thought they could have easily gone through that evidence and come to a quick acquittal when they didn't do it, I got a little nervous. But this restores my faith in the jury system. You know, juries don't always get it right. Many times they do, but sometimes they don't. But the thing is that Daniel Penny, you know, think of the psychological torture he had to go through because of this incident and because of Alvin Bragg. Alvin Bragg never should have brought these charges. There wasn't enough to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he did anything criminally wrong. He stood up like the veteran Marine that he is, the good citizen, and came to the aid, not of himself, but of the other passengers on the other strap hangers who were on that subway car, who were basically in panic and in fear. So if Alvin Bragg, who's a politically motivated DA, and he's not very good at that, if he didn't know that a criminal charge shouldn't have been brought, then he ought to go back to the law school that he graduated from and ask for his money back.
I got to give grief to the city officials of New York who kept spitting him out of the system and getting him no help. And I'd like to throw his family under the bus, who never came to his aid, who never helped him until now, because they're looking for probably a civil trial and a payout from Daniel Penny. But nobody helped this young man, and it was a horrible circumstance that came to that day, May of 23, on the subway train. What do you think about that, David?
Yeah, you just hit a home run. Make sure you touch all the bases as you round them. Look, you know, there's a lot going on here. The average person, and not just the average one, but the casual observer that was watching this, was reading that sort of stuff about this individual, and nobody deserves to die. I mean,
of course,
you know, we all understand that, but at the same time, the criminal justice system never adequately dealt with this individual to show him that his unwanted behavior was not going to be tolerated, and that he had to get some mental health help, and he had to stick to the plan and the program that he was put under. Otherwise, they should have locked this guy up. And had they had done that, Dan, that guy would probably, Neely would probably be alive today.
The murder of that United Healthcare CEO. They arrested a man of interest. Show his picture. His name is Luigi Mangione. He seems like a well-educated, elitist, leftist, environmentalist, judging by all of his social media posts. Used a ghost gun. It was a very strange gun, but that's the guy, we've all seen the video now, that walked up to him and shot him in the back, and then eluded police for the last week or so. They got his DNA on some of the casings on a backpack they found in Central Park, and he got busted at a McDonald's in Pennsylvania earlier today. This was a wild one. I want your take on the investigation, but more importantly, I wanted to point out the fact that, Sheriff, I now know more about this gunman who killed a CEO in a week than I still know about the two guys that tried to kill President Trump from the FBI. And I find that mind-boggling. But anyway, go ahead, Sheriff.
Yeah, well, nice work by the NYPD.
Right.
And these things, sometimes it takes time and you have to be patient. But now that they have this person of interest, I don't like that phrase. He's a suspect, let's be honest.
Thank you, okay.
Now that they have him in custody, we're just going to have to be patient and wait to see what they learn. The motive, obviously, we don't know. There's not enough information, and I don't want to add to the hysteria or, you know, throw out something that I can't back up. I'm a former homicide investigator, and I know how important it is to get this thing right, because they could blow it in a criminal case, you know, in court if they don't get it right. So everybody just needs to hold on. We'll get to the bottom of this now that they have somebody in custody.